Alright guys, now it's time for the spoilers for the Zamasu leader, which was spoiled in the green set. Sorry I'm a little bit behind on this because I do have to do other things with my time. But here we are with Zamasu, and his ability is whenever he attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add a green god card to your hand and then shuffle your deck. So if you look at the deck itself, there's a lot of different gods here, including Goku Black, which is also a god. I decided to go for the Cell SCR out of the set just to see what it would be like on a turn-by-turn basis. One thing that you could play in this deck are the older cards, such as the Fuse Zamasu Deviant Tenacity. Not seeing much play as before, but what it does do is that it does have the ability to negate its energy exhaust in all areas. So you could theoretically play this guy by paying the one yellow energy that he provides, as well as this Zamasu. So this Zamasu is actually a lot less better, even though you are able to attack and then switch up to one of your opponent's battle card arrest mode. It's not quite good because then you have to pay the 2 energy, and you also have to have cards in your combo area that are green and yellow to play this guy. So it's gonna be kind of hard to play this guy out. So most likely you're gonna be using these 2 as an energy exhaust. The super combo I decided to play is the Elegant Assistant Healers, a much older card, but it's also a god that you can search with the leader ability. I'll look at the top 5 cards. Her ability only procs if you do have 4 or less life. So I decided to play the Dr. Jero to allow me to take 1 life out of my hand, and that lets me go down to 5 life, because if you look at the awakening ability of this leader, you have to be you only go down to 6, and 6 is like a really bad number to be at, because now you have to find a way to take that last life so that you can finally activate your homicidal clones. You do have to defend the Gawasu from being attacked. Gawasu is going to be sort of like your shoehorn in order to be able to awaken, because Zamasu on the front side requires that you have a Z unison with a specified cost of 1 in play. You draw 1 and then you untap 1. On the back side of Zamasu, you can choose cards that are Goku Black from your drop area when choosing a Goku Black card to use with the Union skill on a green Zamasu card. So that's a mouthful, but the idea is that a lot of the cards here, such as the Fuse Zamasu, let's go to this Zamasu right here, all of them have the Union Patora if you look at it, and they all require Goku Black. I think this one also as well. Yeah, so all these require that you have Goku Black. Yeah, so you have 3 different Zamasus here that require that you have Goku Black underneath it. And so you can use cards in your drop area that you send off your Z energy, so that you can finally allow you to basically use the Union skill. He does have another ability where he does mill the top of your opponent's card whenever you use a Union skill or an Evolve skill. So that's really useful there. And then when he attacks, draw 1 card, and then this card gets plus 5k power for the battle. So that's a really cool skill. So let's go into the Gawasu here. The Gawasu here is going to be your sort of like your shoehorn in order to be able to awaken. But what he also does is that you can play a Zamasu or Goku Black from your Z energy or your Z deck with a skill negated. So this kind of helps you, without using energy, be able to play these Zamasu and Goku Black Z extra or Z battle card. And this Z battle card is pretty good because then if you need any of the other names that you require, you can play these guys out for free using the Gawasu. And since you're using the leader, using Dr. Jero to protect your life or your unison, because you're now going down to 5 life, you can finally use homicidal clones. Then you can essentially keep the Gawasu pretty much unscathed until the next turn so that you can use his ability again. So that's a really important ability. And then whenever you mill a card off your opponent's deck, he gains a marker. So that's really good there. And then also he has a -3 ability. When your opponent attacks with a battle card, choose up to one of your green Zamasu cards and switch it active mode and gains block for the turn. So most likely you won't be using this ability too much, I would imagine, because that requires you to give up your Gawasu in the process. And of course we just play the Broly because it's a generic KO for one energy basically. So let's go into the other Zamasus. So the Zamasu that you're going to start out with, most likely it's going to be Cleansing Despair. This is the one that you can play pretty early. The other ones require that you have to have a specific energy, such as this one right here. You have to have 3 or more energy, but you can also play this Zamasu as well, that allows you to be played pretty early. So both these Zamasus are something you can play early, so long as you have the materials for the Union Patora. They both require 1 energy, and they're both indestructible. So the cool thing about Zamasu as of in the past archetype is that he stayed true to the indestructibility. So it's going to be hard to get rid of this guy unless you have like the minus stats abilities that Red has, and also the yellows that allow you to negate their skills and then be able to KO them. So yellow and red have natural ways to deal with Fuse Zamasu. But let's go back to the Zamasu. This Zamasu here allows you to combo with a battle card underneath him. So since you're using Patora to make these guys out, you can attack with them and then combo with the card underneath it, and then place those cards into your Z energy. The Union Patora also allows you to draw a card, and then also allows you to mill a card from your opponent's deck. And this one is the same thing. You draw a card, and you also place a card from your opponent's deck to the drop area. And then what it does do is when it does attack, you could basically KO one of your opponent's battle card that's cost 5 or less, and then remove a marker off of Unison. And then you have to place a card underneath this to the drop. So the idea to place these the cards in the drop area or the Z energy is to be able to use the next Union Patora for the next following turn or the same turn, because it allows you to place the Goku Black or the the Goku Black or the Zamasu into the drop area. Okay, so let's go into the 1-drops. The 1-drop here is Zamasu returning to 0. All the 1-drops have an additional ability. So if you look at this Zamasu and this Goku Black, there are obviously counterparts that allow you to either draw a card or look at the top 5 cards for a specific archetype card, and Goku Black is that card. But all of them have a limit 1 ability where you can place them in rest mode, and then you're able to mill the top of your opponent's deck into the drop area. So a lot of more milling coming out. So in totality, if you're using the leader backside to be able to mill, and you're using these cards, and then you're using these cards, you can mill a total of 3 cards probably per turn, or probably up to 5 cards depending on what you're doing. Let's go into this particular Zamasu here. This Zamasu here can only be played if you have 3 more energy, and you choose two guards in your drop area, and then you can play them on top of this. So instead of using the Patora ability, you can actually just fuse from the drop area by choosing 2 god cards. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Goku Black or Zamasu, so long as they're 2 god cards. So that's what they said. So you can actually fuse this guy using Gawasu or any god cards to be able to play this guy. That's probably why it's in SCR. It does have an ability to add 1 card from underneath this card to the Z energy, and then you get to KO any of your opponent's battle cards. So a way to snipe a battle card is always good in my book, especially in today's metagame. So we looked at the 1-drops. Now we can look at the turn 2 plays. The turn 2 plays you can play is this one that allows you to mill your opponent's card and draw a card. So you're always milling and drawing. And then it also allows you to gain a 5k in critical. So this is the critical Zamasu, and you can play it on when you have 2 or more energy. This one is the Goku Black that allows you to play a shadow token that has blocker until the end of your opponent's turn, and it also has a combo power of 5k. This has an activate battle ability, so you can actually play this card. The only issue with this one is that you can only play it when your opponent has 3 or more energy. The other 2-drop, the cards that you can play on turn 2 is the Rose Goku Black Heightened Form. When you do play it, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less and KO it. Then place the top card of your opponent's deck into the owner's drop. So almost every single battle card into this archetype seems to be milling, and this one allows you to have double strike, like its counterpart is able to get critical, and also +5 as well. So both these 2 are the drops that you can play on turn 2 to allow you to do extra abilities and also mill. We have a Gawasu here that does have a negation ability, so an in-archetype negation. So that's why I only play 1 Shocking Death Ball, because Gawasu itself is able to negate and is not a limit 1. So long as you have the energy, you can negate, sort of like a Master Rochi kind of combo. And then we have the Zamasu here that is from the older set, and this allows you to basically choose all of your opponent's battle card with an energy cost of 4 or less, or 7 or less, ignoring barrier and negate those skills and KO them. So sort of a way to deal with the mirror match. And then the last but not least, we do have the Fuse Zamasu that has an EX Evolve ability. You can only play this when you have 3 or more energy, and what it does do when it is played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it, then place the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. So a way to mill 2 cards just by EX evolving is kind of nice. So it kind of goes with the theme of the deck to be able to mill your opponent's deck to the drop area so that you can have an alternative win condition. It also has the ability here on the activate battle. If there's a card underneath this card, place all cards underneath this card into the opponent's drop area, then choose up to one of your Zamasu cards, switch it to active mode, and it gets +5k for the turn. So not much dual attack Zamasus, but at least you're able to give kind of a dual attack ability and then give them a power up by doing so. So it also has the indestructible. So the idea behind this card, even though it's not much stronger than the other one, is just to be able to mill 2 essentially, and without using the Patora ability. So if you have any Zamasu that with an energy cost of 5, you can pay the 1 energy, which you do have a lot of 5 costs. You can play the 1 energy, the EX Evolve on top of them, and then mill an additional 2 cards. So yeah, maybe this deck would actually see a lot of promise now that I think about it, because a lot of the cards here in this archetype is able to mill pretty well. So that's going to be a pretty interesting strategy going forward. Maybe it will actually do well since the state of the game has become kind of fast. And so because they're drawing a ton of cards or thinning out their deck to be more consistent as possible, I imagine this deck is kind of like the anti-meta pick so that your opponent loses all their cards in their deck for doing so. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I pretty much covered everything in the deck. Let's go into the gameplay video right after this. Stay tuned. Okay, so now we're going to have the gameplay video, and now we're going to be covering the Zamasu leader. And now we're going to draw our 6 cards. We're going to shuffle our deck first and then draw 6. Alright, it looks like we open up pretty decent, so this allows us to basically do a free charge here with the yellow energy. So we're going to keep this hand, and then we're going to take off our life here. Okay, now we have our 8 life. Now we're going to charge the Zamasu here, and then we're going to pay the 1 energy to play our 1 drop. We don't really want to put Zamasu in rest mode just yet, so we're just going to use him just to draw a card, and then be able to fill up our Z energy, because we're going to need a Z energy, and he doesn't really attack on the first turn, so you're going to be able to just Z-charge this guy when your opponent does attack you, and then now you have the ability to play the Gowasu Unison. On the next turn, you're going to be able to charge another energy. We do have 2 copies of this Goku Black, so we're going to charge this one, and then right off the bat, we're going to pay the 1 energy here, sending off the Zamasu to the drop area, and then we're going to find the Gowasu Unison. So now with the Gowasu Unison, we do have the ability to gain a marker. Well, we don't gain a marker yet, but it comes in with a marker. And then we do have the ability to free play a Zamasu or Goku Black from our Z energy or our Z deck. So first things first, we could attack first and look at the top 5 cards for a God card. However, on the backside, you are able to draw a card. So it just depends on what you really want. If you want a God card, you can probably do it. And I think the God cards you don't really need. What we need instead is going to be Shocking Death Ball or something to negate an attack so that our Gowasu doesn't die here. So what we're going to do here is untap 1, draw 1. And then we're going to take life until we have 6. I finally remembered, guys. So now we go down to 6 life. So now we have to find a way to get to 5 life, and we can do so because now we have the homicidal clones ready to go. So what we're going to do here is attack with the Zamasu here, drawing us a card, and then he's going to go up to 20k power for the battle, and then getting to draw a card. With our 2 energy, we could use the Zamasus that are pretty easy to play right off the bat, but we don't really want to go down too much. We don't really want to tap out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pay the 1 energy here. Actually, we need a combo on top of this attack, so we have a Z energy. So let's do that. Let's combo away this Goku Black, since we do have a second copy of it in our hand again. And now we're going to pay the 1 energy here to send this off to the drop area. And now we're going to play the Dr. Gero. Okay, so with Dr. Gero, we're going to add a card from our life to our hand. And then we're going to place 1 card from our hand to the bottom and draw a card. So we're going to bottom deck a card. So we're going to bottom deck a Homicidal Clones. I don't think we need 2 per se. And then we're going to draw a card. Alright, so now we have a way to make sure that our Zamasu stays safe, or Gowasu stays safe from attacks. So what we're going to do now is use the Homicidal Clones to get down to 4. They try to attack our Gowasu. And then on top of that, we're also going to negate it again using the Shocking Death Ball. Well, actually, we're going to use Gowasu. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to take our turn again. Most likely they end their turn because we negated twice already. We're going to charge this one because we really don't need it because we're trying to do the new cards, not the old cards. Okay, from here we're going to pay the 1 energy, the 1 degree energy, so we can play the Zamasu here. And then that allows us to draw a card. We can actually use the ability to mill a card by placing in a rest. Now we can use the Gowasu here. So we milled a card, we actually gained a marker because we did mill. And then now we can use the mouse ability to play the Goku Black and Zamasu from the Z deck. And then that allows us to basically have the Batora ready to go. So we can actually fuse these 2 together to finally play one of our Zamasus. It does cost 1 energy. We're actually going to play the Zamasu here. So with this Zamasu here, we're going to be able to draw a card, mill the top of our opponent's deck. So we mill 2 cards, 3 cards this turn because of our 1 drop. Mill 1 from this, and then we mill 1 from this. Then when this card attacks, we get to draw a card, which is nice. So we're going to attack, and then we're going to draw a card, and then we're going to combo away our Zamasu, and then place this in our Z energy. Okay, so that's pretty good here. And then on top of that, it's also indestructible, which is really nice. We can also EX Evolve if we had it. We don't have the EX Evolve per se, so we could keep the energy up for the Shocking Death Ball, and that's probably what we're going to do here. We're going to attack with the leader and then draw a card. And looks like we don't have 5 cards in our drop yet. Looking at our Z energy or Z deck, we could play another copy of a Broly, but we don't really want to do that in case we need to. Assuming we use that to block the last turn. On our next turn, on our opponent's turn, we're going to use the Shocking Death Ball here to be able to negate an attack, probably KO something. Most likely these will go away. We're probably going to Z-charge this away, and then this Dr. Gerald is probably going to go away as well. But these have indestructible, so they're probably going to be more stickier than usual. So now we're going to go to our 4 energy turn, and so now we're going to charge maybe one of these copies. We've already played multiple copies of these. We do have the cards in our drop area. We do have the Goku Blacks in the drop area, so we can use these cards as a sort of a way to EX evolve. So all we have to do is use the Gowasu here to free play the Goku Black. And then we have a body on board we didn't have to pay energy for. And then using the leader ability, we can actually EX evolve without actually having to pay energy. Or we can actually use the union skill without actually playing the second material. So that's what we'll do. Let's play this particular one because we haven't played it yet. So we're going to play this one by fusing the Goku Black in the drop area. And so this Goku Black, or this fused Zamasu here, we're going to draw 2 cards here by paying the 1 energy. So it allows us to draw deeper into our deck. And then this one allows us to discard opponent's cards from their hand, but don't forget to mill and then gain a marker here. So if your opponent has a battle card, we can actually KO it by sending this Goku Black to the drop area. And so yeah, so now we're looking pretty fresh here. All right, the other thing we can do here is hardcast a Zamasu. So what we can do is play this Zamasu here, drawing a card. We're going to use the ability to draw a card, and then we're going to mill the top card of our opponent's deck. And then since we now have the Goku Black back into the drop area, we can actually pay the 1 energy here to play this Zamasu as well. So that's going to trigger our opponent's our ability to mill a card and draw a card. And so we now played all our Zamasu. The only thing we haven't done yet is the Zamasu that allows us to mill 2 cards. So the EX Evolve ability. This is actually looking pretty good so far. So then now you can pay the 1 energy here to EX Evolve onto any of them. And then you're able to KO one of your opponent's battle cards and then place 2 cards on top of their deck to the drop area. So not a once per turn, but it's pretty good. And then being able to restand one of your Zamasus by sending one of the cards to the drop is pretty nice. So you can restand this Zamasu if you want to, or you can restand this one because it allows you to draw a card and it's not once per turn. So that's really good. So then you're able to attack and then draw again. And then so you're doing a lot of different plays to allow you to draw a lot. And then you also have, you're drawing to homicidal clones to negate attacks as well. You also have this Gowasu as well to be able to choose a Zamasu and give it blocker. So if you want to give any of your Zamasu's blocker, you could do so on your opponent's turn. So now you can just give up this Gowasu. Restand one of your Zamasu and then block with it. That's a thing you can do. And then what also you can do is you can use homicidal clones since you're tapped out. But the idea here is you can play this deck as sort of like a control strategy and then be able to mill your opponent turn by turn, because it seems to be the Zamasus are milling a ton of cards as well. So maybe I should up this card up to 3 because it seems to be very good, and there's no reason why I shouldn't be playing this at 4 actually, because it's the only 2 miller. And so since you're doing that and then tandem with the leader, which is not once per turn. Wow. So this is not once per turn. So long as you're able to play a EX Evolve and Union skill, your opponent's milling a card. So yeah, overall, I think this leader is going to be pretty good. I don't think I really covered, didn't forget anything else except for the metamorphic cell. But other than that, this deck is pretty good, I would say. So it definitely has a spot in the metagame because it has the ability to mill, and not many leaders are able to do that pretty well except for the Janemba leader. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.